In this video, we're going to show you how to change the bearings in our front rim brake hub. The tools you're going to need are a small bearing press, bearing punch, your trusty hammer, and a hub support. The replacement bearings are two 699s. So to begin with, you're going to remove the end caps, which come off by hand, to expose the bearings. Sit onto the hub support and use your punch to carefully knock out the axle. Remove the bearing, and on the other side, again using your punch, to remove the bearing. Set that to one side. Then take a new bearing, slide it onto the axle, and insert into the hub shell. Slide the bearing onto the other side, and now fit your press. Just press the new bearings into place. Remove your press and replace the end caps. In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the bearings in our rim brake rear hub. So the tools that you're going to need are two 5mm Allen keys, a 10mm Allen key, the axle removal tool, bearing insertion kit or bearing press, a hub support, and your trusty hammer. And the replacement bearings are one 6802 and one 15267. So to begin with, take your 5mm Allen keys, insert into each end of the hub and turn. This will loosen one of the end caps. Remove the end cap, set to one side, the free hub set to one side, and the free hub spacer. Now take your 10mm Allen key, insert into the axle, and use one of the 5mm to loosen the other end cap. Remove the end cap and the washer and take your hub support, take the hub shell, sit on the hub support, the axle removing tool, and tap out the bearing. Slide the bearing off, put to one side. Then use your bearing punch to punch out the bearing on the other side. Take the bearing, set to one side. Then to reinsert the bearings, take your bearing insertion kit. The 15267 sits on the drive side. Insert the axle. Sit the bearing shell. The non-drive side is the 6802. And then tap gently into place. So to replace the bearings in the free hub, the tools that you're going to need are a flathead screwdriver, bearing punch, a free hub bearing removal tool, or if you don't have one of these available, you can use your punch. Just be sure to punch the bearing out straight, your trusty hammer, and the replacement bearing size is a 15267 for free hubs with the anti-bite guard insert. Alternatively, if you have a hard anodized free hub with no insert, then you're going to need two 6902 bearings, but the process is exactly the same. First, we need to remove the outer dust cover. To do this, use your flathead screwdriver and just gently lever it out. Put that to one side. That'll expose the outboard bearing. Use your bearing punch to push the inner spacer to one side to give you purchase on the outboard bearing, and tap gently out. Remove the spacer, set to one side, and the bearing can be set to one side. Now take your free hub bearing removal tool and tap out the inboard bearing. Again, if you don't have this available, you can use your punch. Just ensure that you punch out straight. You can set the bearing to one side. And we now have an empty free hub body. To replace the bearings in the free hub, we're going to need our bearing press. So take the inboard bearing, seated in place with the correct drift, outer drift, a couple of speed spacers, and press into place. Ensuring it seats all the way at the bottom of the free hub. Remove the drift. Now add your spacer and the outboard bearing, and repeat. Then take your dust cap and just use your thumbs to press it back into place. So for the final assembly, we're going to take our free hub spacer, slide it over the axle, replace the free hub and the end cap, then the non-drive spacer and washer, end cap and tighten, and then use our 5mm Allen keys to retighten the end caps.